welcome to my channel. Welcome, family. Grace, grace. The G is for grace. The R is for reaching. The A is for accepting. The C is for comfort. The E is for empowering. You say, wow, what are you talking about? We are talking about managing dementia with grace. Can you believe it? Managing dementia with grace. So guys, let's get right into it. Let me say hello and welcome to my channel, where I'll be exploring challenges of the Black community in maintaining self-care, life care, and also as you are loving and taking care of your loved ones that are suffering from dementia and Alzheimer's and also chronic kidney disease. So I want to thank you for your support, and I ask that you please like and share this video and subscribe to the channel. Guys, we've been getting some awesome comments. Just got some comments this morning by phone. Someone was just sharing how they're being blessed by the information, by the broadcast. And I just want to say thank you so much. We're in this together. We're in this together, guys. So let us help and support each other. So let's get talking. Managing dementia with grace. Managing dementia with grace. So we're going to learn how to manage dementia with grace and compassion in this video. We're going to learn some things. Good morning, Ibra. We're going to learn some things. Wherever you are, it's actually evening, afternoon here in New York. I'm late. It's afternoon. God bless you. All right, let's go. So dementia care requires a deep understanding of the condition and compassionate approach to provide care. So these things, giving, reaching, accepting, comforting, and empowering, spells the word grace. But isn't that interesting as you're caring for your loved ones with grace? Oh my goodness. So let's find out how this works. Let's go down here and get some information and find out how this works. Okay, and I also have a short video. I want to try, hello AC469. I also want to try and share at the end, if I can. Will someone also help to explain the stages of dementia? I don't know if you have anyone in your family or you know a friend that suffers from dementia. These stages, because dementia is the umbrella. And one of the main, we always say Alzheimer's. Dementia, Alzheimer's. Sometimes we get a little bit almost confused, but it's in the same family. Different stages. There are many stages. Check out my videos, guys, and you'll see where we talk about the various stages. So let's go. So we're saying here, all right, that we know that caregivers, and I'm a caregiver, I'm a professional caregiver now, was a caregiver of my late mother, right there, Mother Nona Passing Chambers, and my late husband. Mom suffered with dementia at the ending of her days. So caregivers face numerous challenges when dealing with dementia, including communication. Communication barriers, guys, that can lead to frustration, emotional stress. It can be a challenge. Dementia affects not only the patient, the person you're caring for, but also it affects the entire family, causing emotional turmoil, and financial strain. The lack of understanding and support can exacerbate the situation, making it harder for caregivers to cope. Emotional stress can be overwhelming, and caregivers often forget to take care of themselves, which is essential for providing effective care. And one of the main things that I mentioned, Amazing Grace, God bless you. one of the main things that I like to emphasize on my channel, and you see it in all my notes, you gotta take care of yourself, caregivers. I know this is a challenge with this dementia. Is something else. Just was sharing with someone yesterday as they gave me a call, and they were just sharing how they were dealing with sundowning with their family member. In sundowning, as you know, and we're gonna just throw that in real quick. Sundowning. There's another video on sundowning. Sundowning, as you know, messes with the circadian rhythm. It messes with the loved one's time clock. They'll be thinking it's this time of day when it's a different time of day, and they should be doing something. So check out that video on sundowning. All right. So let's move on. So grace is is an effective approach to caregiving. Standing for, you're going to greet, respect, accept, and communicate and engage. You're going to greet them, you're going to respect them, you're going to accept them, you're going to communicate with them, and you're going to engage. Each component plays a role in providing compassionate care. Greet and respect are about acknowledging the patient's dignity and individuality. The individual, mom might have been 100, your loved one might be 67, 80. We don't know what the age could be, but they still deserve respect. They still deserve dignity, even though they might not recognize you, or they might not know exactly where they are, or they might not know fully what they're doing. They still deserve respect. We still greet them. We still, hello, how are you, love you, good morning, all of these things. They are not a piece of meat. They're still an individual, and we must love them like that, okay? So we're going to greet and respect, and we're also going to, where's my chart? Yeah. And remember, we're doing it all with what? Grace. I just love that. I love that acronym. I love greet, respect. I like accept. I like those in there too. And you can change these around. But tell me, guys, do you love the one that say grace? Do you like grace? Isn't that awesome? Doesn't it remind you of God's amazing grace? I see someone typed in their name is Amazing Grace. Isn't that neat? You know what I mean? I just love that acronym. I would be interested in your acronym if you have one. So we know that let's talk back now about accepting is crucial. So as it allows caregivers to understand the patient's reality and respond accordingly. Effective communication is key to understanding the patient's needs and providing appropriate care. With dementia, sometimes it's hard. You got to find out a lot. That hopefully we'll watch this short video. I'll show you. Bring my phone around. I'm going to have to show you on the phone and get this working. But it's important that we understand what stage they're in, because this disease has various stages. He said the communicate and engage components of grace focus on building a connection with the patient and encouraging participation. So we don't want them to just be upset and they're over here doing their own thing. And we can't communicate with them. And because some people say, well, I don't know, she's out there doing that now, and I don't know what she's going to do, or she's over here rearranging all the dishes, and I'm over here, I don't know what to do about, just let her do her thing. It says here, by using grace, caregivers can create a supportive environment that fosters trust and comfort. This approach helps caregivers navigate the challenges of dementia care with empathy and understanding. Empathy now is when we put ourselves, unfortunately, but that's when you're working with anybody. We have to put ourselves in their shoes. That's what empathy is about. You notice a lot of times, I'm big on this one now, I'll get started. Because a lot of times I don't see empathy in the world. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's like, you do this, you do that. Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? But empathy is important. Empathy is huge. We never know when it will be our loved one. We never know when it will be our turn. God forbid it will be our turn. But empathy and understanding. So caregivers who use grace report feeling more confident and compassionate in their role. It sort of gives you a guideline, something you can kind of work with or work for. So I have a powerful story that illustrates the impact of using grace and compassion in dementia care. Is that of a caregiver who learned to connect with her mother through music. I've done this and I've seen this. Have you ever done this? Have you ever done this? Amazing Grace. Connect with music. Anybody, right? AC 469, Ibrahim Gould. Connect with your loved ones through music. They say music is the opium of the people, right? So it says here, despite her mother's advanced dementia, she would sing along to her favorite songs, and the caregiver would join in. Guys, this is a proven effect. This works. Let me tell you, this works. Whether you're a professional and you're working in the nursing home and the home care facility, whatever, and you're caring for someone that has dementia, if you know what they did in the past, I used to do it with a reverend in the nursing home years ago, and I didn't know anything about dementia and Alzheimer's at that time. There was not, but nowhere near the information that we have today. But I would always ask them, what did you do? And so this one gentleman, this one pastor, he said, I'm a pastor and I played piano. And I thought, oh my God. So I was working in a nursing home at this time. So I found out from my charge nurse that they had a piano and it was in the lunch area, in the dining area. And so I asked her if I could take him to the piano at a certain time of day. And I would take him to the piano and I would place him in front of the piano. He couldn't remember all the chord structures and everything, but I can remember when his fingers would get on the keys, he would start to play. He would attempt to play. He didn't forget that he once played the keyboard and once played the piano. And that was a blessing to him that made him feel that he was still a part of life, even though he was dealing with what? Alzheimer's or dementia. So I understand this point. Well, she said she would sing along to her favorite songs and the caregiver would join in, creating a moment of joy and connection. There's a connection that has taken place right there now. Oh my goodness, this is so good. This simple act of engagement brought happiness to both the patient and the caregiver. You see, highlighting the importance of compassion in dementia and in dementia care. The caregiver's ability to adapt. That's the thing. I pray for every caregiver that you would have the ability to adapt. That's why it's so important to have cultural caregivers. And when you're a family caregiver, you already know what your mom likes. You already know what your loved one likes, right? So you will engage in those things that they like to do. And that will create a connection. That's outstanding, guys. That's outstanding. That's awesome. So it says here, this simple act of engagement brought happiness to both. So the caregiver or the daughter wasn't frustrated, and the mom or the dad wasn't frustrated, because you guys were connecting in something that you both enjoyed doing. Oh my goodness. All right. It says here, this simple act of engagement brought happiness to both, okay? Highlighting the importance of compassion in dementia care. The caregiver's ability to adapt, find ways to engage with her mother made a significant difference in their relationship. Oh my God. I can remember mom and I doing things together. You have to go back to the old way. Yeah, because the dementia takes away a lot of the new. Dementia, the Alzheimer's, is a brain disease. So the more we learn about it, the more we can learn how to engage with our loved ones, how to help them, and how to be a blessing to them, and how to take some of the stress off of us, right? Hallelujah. All right, all right. So this approach can be applied to, excuse me, various aspects of dementia care, from daily routines to emotional support. We can use this approach. We can share stories. We can inspire others to adopt a more compassionate approach to caregiving. It's totally different now. Go back and find the things that they like to do, that they used to do, guys. It says the positive outcomes of compassionate care were evident in the improved well-being of both patients and caregivers. Caregivers use grace. Caregivers use grace and compassion report feeling more fulfilled. The ones that use grace, I got to talk about this more. There's a lot into this grace method. You know something? I didn't have the grace method. I didn't know anything about the grace method. No, because when I worked with that individual, that was years and years ago. And then when my mom ended up getting dementia, that was way ridiculous years and years and years ago. And I didn't know anything about it. I was into a whole different field of medicine, doing different things. Wow, isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing, guys? Grace, Jesus, which in the scriptures mean God's unmerited favor. But we can use that as an acronym. And it says here, it makes the caregiver, it like gives you a guideline on how to work with your loved ones, right? So caregivers who use grace and compassion report feeling more fulfilled and less stressed, more fulfilled and less stressed, which is essential for maintaining their own well-being. I told you before on my channel, I talk about life care and self-care. One of the ways for you to be able to maintain is to take care of yourself. What better way to do self-care than have less stress? Because stress, as someone said, makes a mess. It has its place in our life. Thank God we have to have some stress, I guess, in our lives. You know what I'm saying? But if you are stressed out fully, less stress, because stress makes a mess. So here we have a guideline in saying you can use this acronym. You can use GRACE to start working with your loved one. Oh my God. I want to go see, guys, if I can pull up this video, if I can, right here. Let's see what we need to do. See can we find this one. She's talking about the 7 stages of dementia, and she's using the GRACE method. And so I'm going to, guys are going to be a little shaking, because I'm going to have to adjust my camera and try to get this over here. So stay with me, please, as I try and work this out. I'm using a different YouTube want us to use this guy here, this screen when we're working. So we're doing it this way, following their guidelines. So let's see if we can show her. and see what we can do.
How is everybody doing today? I hope
Hold
you're all
on.
doing great. Today, we are continuing our series of the basics of dementia and
I'm
dementia with
going to turn
Grace,
it now. Try to
my
bring
pain
her in.
management system that I put into place that people are finding great success with when their people with dementia have dementia behaviors. Now, tomorrow, we're going to talk about the different behaviors that can emerge when a person is suffering with dementia. Today, we're going to talk about the stages because when you are reading and researching and talking to other people, a lot of times you will hear about the stages. Now, doctors sometimes don't talk about the stages. Even general practitioners or neurologists sometimes are hesitant to discuss the stages. One, because it is a nebulous process. It is a kind of is it that stage? Is it not that stage? Because you can be in one stage in the morning, one stage in the afternoon. Your behaviors can put you there. Um, you can straddle the stages. You can be a little bit of three, a little bit of four, a little bit of four, a little bit of five. So let's talk about the stages because I think it's important to have a structure on which to hang the framework of discussion. But bear in mind that you may not be able to figure out your person's stages, and it may not matter. As a person progresses through the stages, each stage gets progressively worse, and they might have functional aspects of one stage and cognition aspects of another stage. It's very detailed. And I have lots and lots. I have a whole entire playlist. I think now this will be the 14th or 15th video in that playlist on the stages. So there's a lot to watch. You can absolutely binge watch the playlist on the stages, and I'll try to remember to either put a card up here or put a link down there to the stages, to the playlist on the stages. But anyway, let's get started. Okay, now there are 7 stages generally agreed upon that were initially created, transcribed, memorialized by Dr. Barry Reisberg in the late 80s from New York University. There is a GDS, the Global Deterioration Scale, global meaning your brain, the Global Deterioration Scale, and a FAST scale, 7 stages, which is the Functional Assessment Staging tool. Now, Dr. Reisberg and others created these stages to kind of put together a framework, like I said before. Now, this was all based on Alzheimer's research because at that time, Alzheimer's was the main, and it still is, the leading cause of dementia in people, but it is not the only cause of dementia. Now we know there's vascular dementia, there's Lewy body dementia, there's frontotemporal dementia, there's Korsakoff's dementia, there's all kinds of dementia. Alzheimer's is by far the most prevalent. It was, it is, and it will be, it sounds like, from the research that's going on now. So this was based on Alzheimer's. So if your person has Lewy body, it may not look exactly like this. If your person has frontotemporal, it may not look exactly like this. But it's close. It's close. All dementias progress and decline about the same way, okay? So the 7 stages can also be talked about as the 3 stages, as the early, middle, late. Early is 1, 2, 3. Mid is 4, 5, and late is 6, 7. You might hear it talked about in that verbiage. Okay. All right. Stage 1. There's no clinical changes. There's no changes that anybody can see, that the person themselves with dementia can see, or outsiders can see. And so people are like, well, then why is there a stage 1? Why do you even mention it? Because it's handy to have a look back. When you start having the changes and the declines, it's nice to look back and say, okay, we know Thanksgiving 3 years ago, there was no changes. Mother's dressing tastes the same. She cooked fine. She planned Thanksgiving. She had a room full of people, a house full of people. She was a perfect hostess. We noticed no cognitive changes. So that was, let's say, December of 2015. I think Thanksgiving is in November. Thank you very much. November of 2015. Okay, so we can say that was stage 1. Stage 2 then is a little bit more of a decline, and the person with dementia starts to notice that there is something there, that there is, maybe a little bit more trouble with recall, trouble with sequencing, like planning and executing a task, remembering to pay the bills, that kind of thing. But it all happens. Maybe they have to put some compensatory techniques into place, maybe some alarms, maybe some little dings on their calendar or something like that. But for the most part, nobody else notices anything. They may notice that their memory is slipping or that cognition, like I said, is slipping, but nobody else notices it, right? 3, other people can definitely, the people that are closest to the person, the people that they live with, their spouses, their children, their people at work, people that can still work in 3. People at work are noticing some significant declines in function, in ability to carry out a task. And it's just like you would think, well, is it normal aging? People associate memory loss and declines in cognition with normal aging, and there are some declines if you're not doing anything to actively stimulate and exercise your brain. You may notice some slippage of things, but it's not dementia. That's a little different, but this mimics that. They look the same. When you come out of the grocery store that you always go to and you cannot find your car, so does that mean a cognition slip, a memory loss? Maybe that you never even registered where you parked your car? Or have you just gone to that store for 1,000 years and, you always park your car in a different place, and it's just become so old hat that you didn't even think to register where you were going to park your car, right? So that's the difference between memory loss and normal aging. Okay. 4. If 3 didn't send you to the doctor, 4 usually will, because 4 is where everybody around you are noticing the changes, and you are definitely in the throes of the changes, and something is not right. Something is not right. I cannot remember names. I cannot remember dates. I cannot remember things from recent past. Now, long past is usually intact. Where they grew up and all their friends, and all of those long-term sticky memories are there. But new stuff, new people that are added to the family, maybe the new baby's name, or maybe somebody got married and you can't remember the spouse's name. Every time you see her, you just have to say, "Hey, darling, how's y'all? How are y'all? How's married life?" You may register, especially in 3, you would register that there's a new marriage, and you would probably know the name of the spouse. But in 4, you might remember that she's married to him, that she's in the family now, but you wouldn't be able to remember her name. Again, compensatory strategies can help you, especially if the person is very social and they're used to being able to cover little flubs. We all have moments where we don't remember somebody's name, and we cover it up by, "Hey, darling, how are y'all? It's so good to see you again, because you register. I know that this is a person in my orbit, but I do not remember their name or really how they're connected." There are people, very socially adept people, that can hide their dementia for a very, very long time. In 4, there is a clinically significant difference. So by 4, you could get a diagnosis of dementia or mild cognitive decline, something like that. Mild cognitive impairment, MCI is the actual diagnosis, that has a code that goes with it and all. And you would have that on your record, maybe, if you went to the doctor. There are lots of people, especially in 4, that refuse to go to the doctor. They don't want to know why this is happening, because they know something's happening and they don't want to put a name to it. Everybody has read about Alzheimer's and different types of dementia for years and years and years and years and years. And our older actors and actresses are being, and musicians and people in the arts, people in the sciences are being diagnosed with dementia now, and it's in our face. I mean, we had a former president that died with dementia, Ronald Reagan. So, it's about us and around us, and people do not want to know that they are going to be in that number, right? That's understandable. Four, and I have a whole video on four. Four is as bad as you will be, and you still know how bad you are. You definitely know what the losses are. You know what you're forgetting. You know what you're supposed to know, and you cannot bring it forward. You know that there are bills are due, but there's no way to process that. There's no way to plan for it. There's no way to execute it. You know that you need to cook, but you cannot get everything together. You cannot get the ingredients together, or maybe you get the ingredients together and you forgot to turn on the stove, or you left the stove on after you cooked, or you know, um, the ground coffee is not where it's supposed to be, because the last time you made coffee, you put it in a totally different place than you've put it for the last 50 years, right? That's four. And you definitely know that you're slipping, and it's a hard stage for the person with dementia. Five, then, is the next stage, and it is a deeper dementia. It's a deeper cognitive loss. It's memory loss. Dementia is not just memory loss, it's MCCJR. There's a whole video on that. Memory loss, memory loss, concentration, critical thinking, judgment and reasoning. And if I were to do the book again, I would add insight. And so there's all of these losses that are happening in five, clearly clinically significant. Any doctor would be able to see it. Anybody that meets the person and talks to them for any length of time would be able to tell that they're not all there. They're not processing the whole conversation. They're not able to carry on a full conversation that makes a lot of sense. They can talk about things in their past and talk about and make connections about, hey, maybe you're in college and you're asking your grandfather about his time in college, and he's maybe able to talk about his fraternity or his time on campus, or he met his sweetheart in college or something like that. But he wouldn't be able to tell you what they did yesterday or what they will do tomorrow, or have really the concept of that kind of time. Six is when you lose continency. Usually, you have the memory loss that you have in five, compounded then by functional loss, where there's a lot of rigidity in the body. There starts to be some, pulling inward, and difficulty walking, difficulty with gait, difficulty with standing for any length of time, all of those functional kind of things. By seven, the person is usually bedfast, because they are usually in a fetal position. They are no longer really responding to external stimuli, and I have a whole video on that. Now, the other question that I always get asked about the stages is, how long does it take to go through the stages? How long is each stage? All of those kinds of things. My best answer is that generally, by the time a person is diagnosed, which could be stage 3 or stage 4, they usually have 7 to 10 years to finish the stages. But the run-up to that diagnosis could have been 20 years in the making. So dementia is a long, gradual process of decline, but we're only able to clinically define it when it gets to a certain stage, because that's when it starts really affecting your outer experience and your outer presentation. So, and then the other bit that I would add is that how fast a person goes through any of the stages is about how fast they will go through the remaining stages. So if it took 2 or 3 years to get from 4 to 5, that could be in 5 for 2 or 3 years. However, like in a vascular dementia, Alzheimer's is like a straight line down like that. I mean, it's just a straight decline. It may take a long time, but it's a straight decline down. Vascular dementia is more of a stair-step type dementia, where you have your intact, and then you take a deep dive, then you're intact for a while, then you deep dive again. So you might go from 3 to 5 to 7, like that, for example. But everybody is different. Everybody with dementia is one person with dementia. But dementia can be tracked, and there are changes that are consistent across the course of the disease. But it is also then an individual disease where people who have it react individually to it. I hope that makes sense. All right. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about behaviors and the behaviors that can occur. Usually, behaviors don't occur until stage 4 or 5. Probably, if you're noticing changes, you're in 3 or 4. Probably, if you're coming onto YouTube and you're looking for videos about dementia, you're looking for some support and some information, some knowledge, some education, your person is probably in 3 or 4, possibly in 5. I would say probably primarily the behaviors happen in 5. So I just wanted to give you that structure today so that when we talk about all the behaviors tomorrow, and then the 4th day we're going to talk about my behavior
Wow,
management system
guys.
that does
Wow,
not include
guys.
medications.
Thank you. That was awesome. That was awesome. Let's see, can we get this back where we need it? Here, guys. Sorry for the shaking of the camera. Yeah. Guys, if you learn anything from that video, please leave a comment. Please like the video. Please leave a question. Please share with me in the audience what are you getting out of it. Now, I don't know what stages, sorry about that, I don't know what stages your loved one could be in that you're dealing with, but we are going to talk about what we can do in caring for them. That's what this is about. So I needed to show that because there are various stages. There's various stages, and you saw she just went through all the stages on that. So we need to know, what do we do? So we were saying we use grace. We use grace, right? We use grace. So we use the approach to recognize who they are, to work with them in things that they knew and things that they did. Remember the songs that you would go back and sing with them in dealing with their past life, okay? Because as you heard so much she was saying there are stages that sometimes they'll just forget, sometimes they'll look just completely like nothing is there, like there's no problem. Remember I shared with you the precious mother that came to our church for service one year, and never forget it. And she looked beautiful. She looked totally normal. There was nothing, the ones of us that did not know her personally, we would have never picked up on it. Not at all. And therefore, she joined into worship. She was able to do all the things. The ushers didn't notice anything with her. She got up, she went to the bathroom, we thought, and then she exited on out the door, and we didn't know because no one knew that she was having dementia, and we definitely did not know what stage she was at, okay? So all this is important, the 7 stages of dementia, and then using the acronym GRACE in caring for your loved ones. You know, in the Black community, dementia is very prominent, and we sometimes thought, and I heard people say that, just typing up something here, that they thought that dementia was strictly a white person's disease. They said, I never really thought much of it because I kind of thought that it was a white person's disease. Well, research shows that dementia disproportionately affects the Black community in the United States, with older Black Americans being twice as likely to develop Alzheimer's or other forms of dementia compared to other races. You see, this is a disparity. That's why we have to understand that knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. This disparity is influenced by several factors, including what we already know. We're on the list for what? Number one in cardiovascular disease. We're on the list for what? Diabetes. We're on the list for what? Hypertension, which are significant risks for dementia. So what is it again? Cardiovascular disease, diabetes, hypertension, which are significant risk for dementia. Additionally, we have what? Systemic barriers, such as healthcare inequities. We don't get the proper healthcare, most of us. In Someone was just sharing with me earlier today, we were talking about it. They said, well, you know what? I'm retired, but I get Social Security. I get Medicare and Medicaid. There's some things that are not covered. So there's some things we have to pay for out of pocket or try to find the best way that we can to care for these things. So that's huge right there. So we know we have inequities in that line. We know we have delayed diagnosis, right? And in dementia, you don't want to be delayed in your diagnosis. And we know we have limited access to culturally competent care, which exacerbates challenges faced by Black families. We face a lot. But the ones of us and the ones of you that are still in caring for your loved one today, I want you to remember the acronym of GRACE. Regardless of what stage they're in, regardless of what's going on, remember the acronym of GRACE. And you will say, what you're talking about the Bible? I would be, but this is not. This is giving an acronym on how to care for that loved one. G is for grace, how to care for them. Or we could say greet or approach, right? We could greet them. Grace, greet them, right? We're looking at, let me go back to my notes here. Okay, we have R. R is for reaching, but we could also use R for respect. I like that one better. I like that one better. I think I'm going to write that one down. Let's write those in. Let's write those in. So let's use, guys, I'm a teacher, I like to write. Have my board here behind me and all kinds of stuff, right? So let's go to the pamphlet. So let's do G, and let's make that for greet. How are we greeting them? Hey mom, hey loved one, hey auntie. How are we greeting them, right? Let's go to the R. Let's go to respect. We're going to show them full respect, right? We're going to greet them. We're going to respect them. Okay? We can use that acronym in that respect. Grace can be used in that respect. Okay? You can put your own words there. Okay? So we're going to do what? We need an A. We need an A. Let's do accept. All right. So now let's do accept them. So we're going to greet them, we're going to respect them, and we're going to accept them. All right. Let's use C. We're still spelling grace is the acronym. My bishop loved to do acronym teaching. Let's do C, communication. All right. So we're going to greet them. Hello, mom. Hello, auntie. Hello, uncle. Yes. We're going to respect them. We're going to accept them. And we're going to do what? Communicate with them on their level. Communicate with them on their level. All right? Okay. And we need an E. We're going to engage. We're going to engage them. We're going to greet them. We're going to respect them. We're going to accept them. We're going to communicate with them. And we're going to engage them. Each component plays a vital role in providing what? compassionate care because we love them, right? Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. Effective communication is key to understanding the loved one's needs in providing appropriate care. Effective communication. So we're going to greet them, respect them, accept them, communicate with them where they can understand, and engage them into what? Daily activities. Daily activities. Um, you know, if I knew now, I remember my mom. One of the things that really, really engaged her, and I'll never forget it, and I want to give a shout out to my past local church. The name of that church was Faith Covenant National Church of God, and it's located in Rochester, New York. Guys, I'm in Rochester, New York. We're no longer there. The church, well, the pastor retired. He's long passed on, and the church merged with another church. But I need to share this, just how important this story is. So when my mom came to live with me, she was 70s, in her 70s, I think, and she hadn't been cooking because she and I hadn't been together for 5 years. I left her to marry, and yeah. So as we were getting our life together, she was living with another family member. So when I left her, she was cooking well, doing a lot of things when we separated. When we rejoined, I asked her about cooking, and she says, "Oh no, I haven't been cooking much." She says, and I don't do it. I go, "Huh? Mom, you're always baking, you're always cooking, you're always doing these things." She said, "No, I wasn't allowed to be around the stove very much." And I thought, I said, "Well, we're not going to have that around here because my husband enjoyed her cooking. He enjoyed her cooking." So we got her back cooking. She loved to bake. You heard me say before, like cupcakes. No, you can call them cupcakes or, yeah, muffins, cupcakes. I think the southern word was muffin. And she would bake and she would make a plateful. And oh my God, he'd come home and just enjoy eating a nice, freshly cooked cupcake. So then we got involved into the church. I got her involved into my local church, the church that I mentioned to you about, Faith Covenant National Church of God here in Rochester, New York. And we would have in our church what you call Sunday school. Sunday school. And you would have the adult services, right? So Sunday school, the youth then would be separated into classes. You would have the ages preschoolers, and you would have the middle ages, and you would have the teens, and we will all go into Sunday school for a good hour. I think it was something like from 10 to maybe 10 to 11. And then there would be, I think maybe like a 15-minute break if I'm getting this somewhere right. The kids can have refreshments, milk and cookies or whatever they would like. And then we would go and start the general service. So what my mom would do, and this took her back, speaking of grace, speaking of greeting her, they always greet her, because we didn't even know she was being involved in dementia. This was, as we were talking about the stages earlier, you heard some of the stages you can't tell. And so we weren't really sure yet. Whether it was 1, 2, or 3, we weren't sure where we were because everything seemed normal. Everything was kind of the same. Couple of slips here and there, but nothing major. Nobody noticed, right? So the church then accepted her as cooking muffins, cooking cupcakes for the youth to have as their treat during, in between Sunday school and heading back into worship. And I am telling you, I truly believe, I truly believe by the grace of God, I truly believe by the church involving her and allowing her to do that task of preparing those cupcakes for those children, it gave her a meaning. They engaged her, they communicated with her, and she felt she was a part of the family, and it extended her mentality. And you would have a hard time convincing me that it did not. She was engaged. She was engaged in something meaningful. She was respected. And then it went on where she was like the number one, and I'm boasting, guys, because it was my mom. She was also the number one biscuit maker. She could make biscuits that would melt into your mouth. And she had done that all of her life. So even though as she was maybe beginning to not use so many current things, we were engaging her, and I didn't even know. I was just using what I thought she needed to be useful. She couldn't work in the farm anymore, out in the garden anymore. She wasn't, pardon me, babysitting anymore, doing all of the things that she used to do because now she's getting mature and, not able to do these things, but the things that she could do. So she was being greeted, she was being respected, she was being accepted, and she was able to communicate. And not only that, we got her engaged in making those cupcakes for the children, making those biscuits whenever the church was having a potluck meal, and everyone would communicate with her and they would let her know they enjoyed them. So that gave her then what? Acceptance. That gave her then what? Respect. And oh my God, she was always greeted. Grace. How many ways can you use that for your loved one? It was outstanding, guys. And not only that, and she was a singer in music. So we're saying engaged. So we got her engaged into the church choir and into the community choir. And therefore she was known for singing some of the old songs. You saw, and we talked about in here, the old songs register back with them. And that's how you can engage them. I enjoyed the fact that as we get ready to close, my bishop at that time at the not the church that I'm at now, but in the other church, in this church too, but I'm speaking of the older church where my mom was. My mother was not alive in the church I'm in now. He would always make it a point to ask the choir or the congregation, you must sing an old hymn or an old song. Every Sunday he requested that we sing an old song because we had mature saints in the audience who maybe couldn't engage in some of the newer songs, but they could connect with the older songs. In my mom, it's on my album, she would sing Soul and Body Belong to God. And even the youngsters would grab hold of that song and they loved it. They loved it. But she remembered that song. She maybe couldn't get all the newer songs, the contemporary songs. She would try to learn those songs, but she was joining in on those older songs. And I'm telling you, she could sing it, and Bishop was requested every time, let mother sing an old song. Because she could relate. He was engaging her. Oh my God, I didn't even know this was going to end up like this. This conversation, they blessed me. My God, I came on here to bless other people. I come to bless other people and I get blessed. Well, give God praise. Amen. So guys, what is it? You use grace the way you want to use it. I get ready to close here because of time. I use it two ways today. I use grace, the acronym, two ways. GRAC. I use it for greet, for respect, for acceptance, communicate, and engage. And I think we had another one that we use it. You use it, whatever you're using it for. We use grace also for what? Well, we had another one here. The G is for grace. The R is for reaching, accepting, comfort, empowering. However you can take it and use it for you as a guideline as you minister to your loved ones. Do that. I'm telling you. Guys, in conclusion, managing dementia with grace and compassion is essential for providing high quality care, improving the lives of patients and caregivers alike by applying the principles of grace. I love that. I love it. Caregivers can create a supportive environment and that fosters trust, comfort, and dignity. My mom felt when they would eat her muffins, I'm telling you, she said, where did the biscuits go? They would eat those biscuits. They would eat them and she couldn't wait to cook them every week. She just wanted to cook them because she felt engaged. Something she had done all of her life. All of her life. Bless others through her cooking. Bless others through her singing. Bless others. It wasn't the frontal. We know you forget. We don't know. I didn't know what stage she was in. I did not know what stage she was in because as you watch the video that I showed you earlier, she went through all 7 stages. And I didn't know what stage she was in because some things seem like just normal. People say, you just aging. This happened. We pass it on. Well, we getting older. We getting older. We getting older. We getting older. And that's true. But then some things move in a little differently. And we didn't know. But as time went on, and the later stages, it pronounced itself. And I knew what was happening. But in the earlier stages, I had no idea. Now, why do I share all of this, guys? You said, what is it with her in this dialysis and this dementia? This right here. I do what I do because of what I've been through. This right here. Yes. My mom had dementia. My husband was on dialysis chemo. And so that's where my heart is. And I was a caregiver. So I have to minister out of what I know. And I minister out of what I know so I can try and help other people. Out of your mess comes your message. Out of whatever you dealt with, you can be able to help somebody else. That's what we do here. Use your story. Use your story to be a blessing to other people, guys. Use it, use it, use it. So we're going to be here. Now, guys, today we were able to come in some on a different time. Wednesday is my only time that I'm kind of locked in to a 1:30 is on my Wednesdays. The other days, because I work, so I'm not sure, the days that I'm going to be off. So that's when you'll see me coming in sometime like about 7 in the evening. Or so it'll be after work. It'll be after work. But just know, guys, that your girl will be here. And guys, we're doing shorts. We're doing whatever we can to educate. Please like the video, share the video, comment. And for the ones of you that are telling me on the phone and when you see me in person, and you see me at church and you say, yep, I'm sharing the video, I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you. You don't have to do it, but God knows I appreciate you so much. I appreciate all that you do. I appreciate the thumbs up. I appreciate the comments. I do. You mean the world to me. Without you, I would be nothing out here. Amen? So we're getting to what? And with God, I would be able to do nothing either. Let's do that. Let's give him prompts. Let's do his name. So thank you so much. And make sure that you pray as you're caring for your loved ones with dementia, Alzheimer's. Pray that God give you wisdom. Pray that God give you strength. Pray that God gives you patience. Yes, that you will be able to do the best that you can do and know that you're doing your best. Don't ever let anyone beat you up. You are doing your best. Whether you have the knowledge or not, you're doing your best. Guys, always remember, my channel is a safe place. This is a safe place. No negativity is due here. No one is going to put you down here. You comment, you like, you share, you ask for prayer, you do whatever your heart desires, whatever you need. That's what this channel is for. Okay? It's a safe place. Let's pray. Father, bless each and every caregiver under the sound of my voice. May you meet their needs, I pray, in Jesus' name. Amen and amen. And I'm going to see you in our next video.